Welcome to the London Outlook for Friday, the 2nd of February 2024. Looking at the economic calendar, there is only red folder news events for the US session. Today being an NFP day, this is of highly significant news, so I suggest that you close any trades that you open during the London session and that remain open at the time of the London lull. Probably close it before or at the London lull, but certainly by New York open. You don't want to have any trade positions open when NFP is released because of the spreads and the volatility. Having said that, let's move on to the 4-hour chart where we can see that from a market structure perspective, nothing much has changed. We continue in this uncertain scenario. Yesterday we can see that we wicked this 4H protrend previously confirmed quite significantly. We also had this um, where is it? Yeah, we had this primary proton unconfirmed OB that was validated as a result of the primary leg being validated as such. So this was our primary PT unconfirmed leg, and then obviously we also had this um, primary proton previously confirmed OB leg that was validated when we started making demand order flow on the 4-hour. So having said that, essentially yesterday we had reasons to trade both directions, shorting from this OB and longing from this OB. However, what we can see is in this primary OB actually achieved its objective right here, which I'll mark out now. So this was its objective yesterday, and it did achieve its objective. However, after that, instead of this 4HOB failing and the protrend unconfirmed prevailing and creating this break-off structure that we're waiting for to confirm the bearish momentum, instead we had a large wick and quite a significant move to the upside, which was somewhat uncharacteristic for GU and the ADR, because this move on its own is like 150 or 130 pips. So that was a bit strange, but I think it was just a build up of all of the news, and perhaps there was something that ECB President sorry, not ECB President, Bank of England Governor Bailey saying. But yeah, also the US news was somewhat mixed for the session. So the only core driver that I can understand or make sense of this move with is something to do with what the Bank of England governor said. However, what that meant for our trading, or what it means for our trading right now, is we essentially have two areas to trade from. The one being this 4HOB, and then any unmitigated 15-minute or 5-minute or even 30-minute areas from which we can then build a new secondary leg. Remember, the reaction or the wick of this 4HOB creates a secondary leg on the 15 or 5-minute, and thus because this is also a primary leg, any 5-minute, 15-minute levels will also generate support for validating new secondary leg levels. However, there's actually something I do need to take into consideration here, being the fact that we are in an uncertain scenario. Remember, we need 4H backing for any trade ideas. So if we look at short opportunities, this protein unconfirmed OB reaction took out its target, which then meant we needed a new 4H OB to be validated to then short again. Remember, because we reacted to a protein unconfirmed OB, a week of this chalk OB validated the primary leg, which then validated this primary protein unconfirmed OB, which we could then short from. Because of that, we had this target yesterday, and we could short from this OB because we had 4H backing. However, for today's purposes, all the 4H OBs have pretty much failed, right? So if you look at that, protein unconfirmed has achieved its objective. Primary unconfirmed has achieved its objective. Everything is essentially clearly mitigated within this level, which then means there isn't any 4H backing for shorting. Since there's no 4H backing for shorts, our only option for actually taking short trades is to wait for 4H back um, for us to reach this unmitigated broken unconfirmed area from which we can build a new primary leg, which essentially means shorts are off the cards until somewhat later in the session, or probably in the New York session when we actually come up here. However, for long purposes, this 4HOB, although wicked many times, it was never body broken, and although reacted to many times, hasn't achieved its objective, which means there's only reasons for longs for today, with this being the primary objective. Having said that, that means our primary bias for the London session is to long, with shorts only being considered if we actually take out this substructure high, with this 4HOB achieving its objective, meaning that there's no 4HOBs that have that can support longs anymore for the day, which then means after we take out this point, then we can consider shorts, but until we take out this point, there's only reason to long, which means on the 5 minute, I just need to amend some things here because I didn't think of that completely thoroughly. However, now that we come to the 5 minute, or rather let's look at the 15 minute to make things somewhat simpler. We know we got the secondary leg. We know that there's no reason for shorting at all because we have no 4H backing until we get to this area right here. So our options for longs are to base our trade ideas based on the secondary leg. Since the secondary leg hasn't been extended in the current day, our only options is to use anchor ourselves to the previous high or low of the day. What we can see is that we have this New York session low in the London low, which is the low of the day from yesterday, and then if we do want to trade, our only real option is to see if we can find an S&D flip, which we can right here. So there's that S&D flip, which we can probably put an entry like this. However, like I said, because the New York session from yesterday hasn't been validated by a new high of the day, putting your stop loss here is a bit risky. So that's 47. If you can imagine, this doesn't really make sense because the stop loss is way too big. It's more than 1/3 of the daily range, so that trade doesn't really make sense, which means the next best option for us for actually getting into a trade in the London session is for a new high of the day to be created and then the pre-Asia low of the day to be validated. So I'm going to mark that on right now, high low of the day. Okay, so pre-Asia low of the day, and this will essentially be validated by Frankfurt taking out this high of the day, and then obviously we'll need an extension of the leg, which will need a body break right here. So I'm just going to mark that out, high of the day secondary leg extended. However, there's another consideration, and that is the fact that there isn't any remaining IRL to the left. So this being the last IRL point, and if we need the leg to be extended before we can trade, our only option is this high being extended, which is likely going to take out the last IRL point. So it's going to put us in a peculiar position, which means our next best bet for longing is that price actually trickles all the way down here, something really lower down, probably something where we can limit our daily range to about 30 or 20, 25 pips. around here, and then we can take an entry. However, we got the NFP, so maybe it's just best to wait, because for price to move all the way down here, it's not going to happen in an instant. It's probably NFP that's going to drive it down. So I think just be wary. So there's this, consider NFP, sorry, consider if IRL available. Our other option is that the 5 minute will generate additional IRL, so we'll have to monitor that. But I guess if we think that through, how would that work? Because we'd need, essentially we'd need price to come up here, extend the secondary leg, validate this, and then come into a POI, get a chalk again, and then if there's IRL in this leg, then we can validate longs. So that's pretty much the London outlook, and we'll chat again for the end of the, sorry, for the New York outlook.